Hi, I'm Carrie, and this is Sandra's Sisterhood, and this is a YouTube channel for the single childless person. Today, our video is child-free versus childless. These are two terms that are seen in our community that describe women or men without children. And there is some little controversy within our community regarding what these two words mean. So I'm going to give you my perspective. This isn't the definitive perspective, but this is just some thoughts that I have on this. And it doesn't mean that everybody within this community is going to feel the same way. Really, if I look at the most kind of crude and basic ways of describing the difference between these two words, child free is by choice or people who have made a choice not to have children, and childless is people who don't have children, not by their own choosing. The first concept that I want to introduce when we talk about these two words is it one or the other? Are people one or the other? Do you have to kind of pick a side, so to speak? Or are these just two ends of a spectrum? And that's really where I feel, or how I feel about these two words. I feel like childlessness is, and the process of grief and the process of acceptance around that, and or the process of decision making around that can be part of a spectrum, and you can go through different stages and phases of that. Um, I understand the perspective from a lot of people who view the word childless is really indicating that there's something missing. The word less indicates that your life is not full, and that it indicates that you are missing out on something. I understand people who have trouble and who how that rubs them the wrong way. The way I conceptualize the word childless is I do think it describes something that isn't there, but I don't think it describes me as a person. But it does mean I don't have children. Um, I also believe, and why I use childless in our content, is I do think for those of us who are childless, not by choice, there's a definite period in our life and in our grief cycle where we absolutely feel that we are missing out on something, that we may not be completely whole, that it's certainly how the world perceives us as women, as being less than and not living this full grand life that motherhood brings. And so when I was in my grief, I would say when I learned about these words, I definitely gravitated more to the childless because I felt like it honored and validated where my feelings were at that time. Now I will say I probably shift along that spectrum, kind of depending on the day, and depending where I am with things. Um, and so I kind of think to myself that maybe I'm child free, not by choice, at this point, where, I'm at an age where I can't have kids, right? It would be almost a miracle if I had a child at this point. Um, but I think that I'm at a point where I'm not sure that that would make the most sense for my life at this point. And that is very different than where I was probably 3 years ago, where it was a deep, deep sense of loss. It was very scary. It was very isolating. Um, and I absolutely gravitated to the word childless and other people who also were experiencing feelings that they felt attached to the word childless. Now I'm in a different phase of my acceptance. It doesn't mean that I don't kind of swing in and out of that sometimes, but it's where I feel like I'm child free. I'm okay not having kids, but this wasn't my choice. It's something that I'm accepting because I have to accept it. And I, in my heart, believe that I can still have a meaningful, fulfilling life. Um, and it's not what I chose. So, Just some thoughts about these words, and are these words more of a spectrum versus binary, child-free versus childless? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Would love to learn what our community is feeling about these words too. Sometimes I feel like it's the squeaky wheels that kind of get all the airtime on this, and I would really love to hear what you have to say. So stay tuned and stay tuned with Saunders Sisterhood for more videos on those of us who are single and childless, not by choice.